Hey, this is Have Learn, a place to discover and gain new skills. Today we're going to be talking about the network effect. The network effect helps explain the idea that the value of a product or service increases as more and more people start to use it. Examples include telephones, social networks like Facebook, and online marketplaces like eBay. If you think about phones, if you're the only person to have a phone, you wouldn't really have any use for it. But when a second person gets a phone, the value for both users would instantly be higher as they could start communicating between themselves. With each additional person who gets a phone, the value will continue to increase as it gives everyone within the network the opportunity to contact an additional person. Okay, so now we know what the network effect is. Let's start to break it down a little further, as there are actually different types of network effects. The previous example of the telephone is actually an example of the direct network effect. The more users who join the network, the greater the benefit there is directly to those users. An example of an indirect network effect would be an online marketplace such as eBay. In this example, you would have two core user groups, buyers and sellers. And as one group grows, it then encourages the other group to grow as well, which is why it's called an indirect network effect. In this scenario, if you had sellers but no buyers, then the sellers probably aren't going to hang around as no one is there to purchase the product. But if the number of buyers on the platform can be increased, this in turn would encourage more sellers as there is greater opportunity for them. In turn, the more sellers there are, the greater the choice for the buyer and the more competitive the prices will be, in turn leading to more buyers joining the platform. Hopefully you can see that the indirect network effect is like an ecosystem, where balance is needed between the user groups so the system can exist and grow. There will be a cascade effect where imbalance can lead to the network growing or failing. Bilateral networks are where the use of one product leads to an uptick in a complementary service. An example of this would be increases in the smartphone network leading to increases in the internet network, as owning a smartphone enables people to also access the internet. Some networks are influenced by local network effects. A local network effect is when a user primarily sees benefit due to the uptake of a subset of users to that network, and not because of the growth of the network overall. A good example of this is with instant messaging apps, where a user is interested in whether their friends use the service rather than how many people are on the network altogether. Next, we're going to look at closed networks and why pricing is so important. Let's consider the gaming industry. This is an example of a closed network, as each console exists in its own network. You can't share games between different console types, and if you play online, you're typically limited to only play with those of the same console type. The network effect will directly impact which console someone will buy, as if their friends don't have the same console, then the advantages to buying that console will be much lower. Gaming companies will often sell their hardware at a loss to help grow their network and therefore their market share. Whilst making a loss on the console, once they have people on their network, they are then able to make a profit on their games. This is the result of looking at the lifetime value of the customer and not the value of each transaction separately. In essence, growing a network is often more important than making a profit, particularly initially, which can lead to a different go-to-market strategy than a business will have over a longer time period. Closed networks will also lead to significant barriers to entry and a monopolistic effect. The devastating impact of a closed network with the wrong pricing strategy can be seen when looking at Betamax and VHS, which are the precursor formats to DVDs and Blu-rays. Betamax had everything going for it. It launched before VHS, allowing it to start with 100% share of voice, and additionally it had a superior recording quality. When VHS launched, despite being on the back foot, they took an aggressive pricing strategy and additionally licensed the product to manufacturers so that the VHS format was more widely available. The high entry cost for Betamax and its closed structure ultimately led to its demise, as it resulted in less support due to a lower adoption rate. Despite Betamax having the initial advantage, ultimately VHS ended up monopolising the industry for nearly 40 years. Whilst we've talked about networks leading to barriers to entry, it's worth acknowledging new firms can still enter the market, particularly where there is a low cost to the user adopting the product. This is particularly relevant with digital products where they have low initial cost to the user and it's easy to migrate. Social networks are the prime example, where MySpace was quickly usurped by the more relevant Facebook, and despite Facebook's dominance, other social platforms such as Instagram, Twitter and Snapchat have also been able to launch and coexist due to them targeting different segments of the market. Innovation is key when dominating a market where the user has nothing preventing them from moving to a better supplier. Beating the competition is key to the longevity of the network. Critical mass is a key concept if you are considering networks and represents a point where the value to someone joining the network outweighs the cost. This may sound strange, but as the value of a network is determined by its size, when a network initially starts, the cost to a user joining will often outweigh the value that user will receive. Companies just starting out will therefore need to provide an incentive to early adopters to offset the initial cost and encourage them to join the network. This can take many forms, whether it's a discounted offer, referral incentive, or even the prospect of some longer-term gain delivered in line with future growth. As a result, funding is often needed to support the growth stage when new networks are formed to ensure the user base can be grown without the need to deliver profit. Even after the point of reaching critical mass, many networks will still continue to focus on growth above profit, as the larger the network becomes, the more market share it gains and the more profit it can make in the long run. One last network effect I want to talk about is the data network effect. Although similar to those already discussed, this functions in a slightly nuanced way. Whilst the value of the data network increases alongside adoption rate, this isn't actually due to users of the network interacting with one another, but instead is due to the information they provide. The data network effect helps to explain how businesses can use machine learning and information from their users to help improve and optimize products. Take Google, for instance. The more people who use it, the better the algorithm gets because it learns from the inputs of users. If harnessed correctly, the data network effect can act as a powerful tool to evolve products over time and stay on top of competition. Hopefully today we've given you a better understanding of what the network effect is and why it's important. If you've enjoyed the content, then a like is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe so you know when more great content becomes available. Take care and looking forward to seeing you again soon.